Alright, so it's time for the Dragon Ball Super episode 126 episode review. I'm your host and the #1 anime gaming and Dragon Ball channel on YouTube, Perfection, and let's jump right into it. So this episode and what happened in it just made no sense, and it felt completely rushed. So we open up this episode and it's right back to Frieza getting decimated by Toppo. They go through playing the whole scene over, and then we jump into Toppo versus 17. So the fight between Toppo and 17, I mean, yeah, Toppo had the upper hand, but not as much of a guy of destruction upper hand as you would have wanted. Like, yeah, he chased him around with Justice Flash. He, had different showings of power between himself and 17. I don't know. I mean, it just didn't seem like 17 was struggling enough in this episode. He was running around. It didn't seem like it was a sense of urgency or anything. And I mean, yes, we know that this 17 is Super Saiyan Blue level, but still, this is Toppo. He was already strong to begin with, and he became a god of destruction. So I was expecting a lot more out of this. And really, all Toppo was reduced to was like spamming god of destruction or Hakai energy to destroy different buildings or structures. And I was thinking to myself, well, Toppo, you could have just used Justice Flash. There was no reason to bust out the Hakai just to destroy a mountain. It just makes no sense. And again, 17 really didn't show any urgency in this episode. It was just like he was going through the motions. Now, we did get back to Goku and Vegeta versus Jiren, and they were still going through the same motions. Like, that's the whole theme of this episode. Everyone was basically going through the motions. And we got to a point in this episode where, again, Goku and Vegeta versus Jiren did show back up, and nothing of relevance or significance really happened between those three. But we did get to a point where Frieza showed back up just as Toppo was about to death ball 17 away, because we finally did get to where Toppo got his hands on 17 and he was about to decimate him. And Frieza came in, blasted Toppo with the death beam. Toppo came back in and, wailed on Frieza a little bit more. And it just didn't really seem like Frieza was impacted enough by what happened in the last episode. I kind of wanted Frieza to be out and to come back with a new transformation similar to Ultra Instinct, like Golden Form Ultra Instinct or something. Like, I figured that would have been the relevance of that beating. Like, Toppo beat him so bad, and then Toppo goes on a rampage, and then Frieza comes back with something like Ultra Instinct. But Frieza comes back, he blasts him, and that's pretty much it. And Toppo and Frieza have a little bit of a decent fight. I mean, he didn't even go in his golden form, and he was pretty much just doing shootouts with him and, cracking jokes and whatnot. And it kind of undid what happened in the last episode. Like, oh, well, Toppo's on this new level. He's crushing Frieza, to Frieza coming back and sort of just, going through the motions with Toppo and everything being undone. So we get to where Toppo kind of gets side by side with Jiren, because again, Jiren does some kind of attack or maneuver and it hits 17 and Frieza. So they're kind of decommissioned at this point. And it gets down to where Toppo and Jiren get by each other. They give him a look, and Toppo goes after Vegeta. So now the rest of the episode is kind of dedicated to Toppo versus Vegeta, and Toppo does start getting the best of Vegeta, but then here we go. Toppo's beating him down. He's about to blast him out the ring with like this supernova attack. And oh no, Vegeta remembers Bulma and Bra and Trunks and Kaba again. Like, this, the first time that Vegeta assumed that new form, a lot of people made some criticisms that he didn't think of Bulma and his family. And they just sort of tossed that in. and now they're tossing in Kaba again. It's like, what is with him and Kaba? This man does not even care about his own flesh and blood, his own brother, his own father, his own people in Universe 7. But all of a sudden, he cares so much about these new Saiyans that he just met literally a day ago. Now, Kaba, he met him a couple of months ago, but he's only had 2 or 3 different engagements with him. They do not have a deep-seated bond. You know, they don't have a bond. That's all I'm saying. Him and Kaba do not have a deep-seated bond. They're acting like Vegeta took him under his wing and trained him for months and did a Piccolo Gohan type thing when they only fought each other once, met at a baseball game, if you want to count that as canon, and then met again in the Tournament of Power. So they've only had 3, different meetings and engagements. Quit trying to shoehorn in this whole, well, Vegeta and Kaba forever, they're master and pupil. No. So after he does his little, thinking process and he powers up, he's able to punch through Hakai energy. I'm sitting there like, really? I'm just, all I can think to myself, I'm like, it's time for Vegeta to go. I don't care what you say. When you get hit with a Hakai, that is destruction. If it makes contact with your body, it's been established that destroys you. Now, yes, we've had instances where Frieza got hit with it and he learns to control it or manipulate it. Goku's been hit by it, and I think Beerus had to take that energy off of him or something, but it didn't immediately destroy him. But Vegeta's been beat down and he gets hit with Hakai, and just in that moment of, having never been exposed to destruction energy, he's able to manipulate it and punch through it. And I just think that made no sense at all. Like, this infuriated me. We go on further. Vegeta's getting his hits in on Toppo. Toppo keeps trying to spam Hakai energy again and again and again. So, I mean, they pretty much made his character simple for Xenoverse 2 whenever he gets added for DLC. I'm already prognosticating that. But again, it comes down to Vegeta having to use a old tactic, and this is what really pissed me off. He uses the final explosion technique that he used against Majin Buu, and it really wasn't called for. Like, it made no sense because he's kind of, fighting evenly with Toppo, so there's no sense of, oh man, this guy is beating the snot out of me, I can't get a hit in edgewise, all my attacks are null and void, because we've seen throughout the whole fight with Vegeta, all of his attacks are taking effect. So why does he feel the urgency to pull out the final explosion maneuver? Just why? So he goes through with the final explosion. Of course, Toppo charges up a Hakai death bomb. I'm just gonna go ahead and coin that phrase, the Hakai death bomb, and they both meet. Vegeta pushes harder and Toppo gets eliminated. That's the whole thing. He used his final explosion, eliminates Toppo. Toppo's all torn up and beat up on the outside, and they go through the whole process of looking for Vegeta. Oh no, he's destroyed himself, as it should have been. And they find Vegeta standing on his own 2 feet after the explosion. Now, my biggest problem with this is that is supposed to be a kamikaze suicide maneuver, which means if you go through with this attack, you are supposed to be destroyed. I don't care how powerful you are. The only thing that matters is, if you use the final explosion as a Super Saiyan Blue, God entity, then it means that the final explosion is going to mean a lot more. Of course, it's going to be outputting a lot more power. But Vegeta ducks the death. He doesn't die. He doesn't turn to stone. And I felt like it's just like you're messing with what was established in Dragon Ball. Even GT did a better job of teasing at Goku using the explosive maneuver and Vegeta coming in like, oh no, don't do that. You're going to die if you do it. So then Super comes in. Oh no, you don't really die. You just get your clothes torn up badly. This could have been done so much better. Toppo and Vegeta should have both been eliminated. There's no reason for Vegeta to be in the Tournament of Power anymore, because we all know that he's not going to get the last hit on Jiren. But I was more concerned with them not giving Toppo any eliminations, which I felt like this episode, if someone had to be eliminated in this episode, it should have been Vegeta if he was going to take the main fight with Toppo to kind of establish Toppo's power, because the guy just did get the God of Destruction form last episode, and then the next episode you're going to eliminate him like this. It just makes no sense. At the very least, Toppo and Vegeta should have both been eliminated. Both of them should have been gone. No questions asked. If not, then Toppo and Vegeta should have had a multi-episode fight, at least 2 episodes. So they should have started their battle here. And then in the next episode, you know, Vegeta can do the final explosion. And then they figure out it doesn't work. And let's say that Vegeta doesn't die. He's sitting there spent on energy, and Toppo comes in and knocks him out of the ring. That's pretty much how it should have transpired. But the way that they did it, it's just complete BS. I'm tired of Vegeta. He has to go. Now they've melted it down to Jiren versus Frieza versus 17 versus Vegeta versus Goku. So it's 4-on-1. And I don't know if Jiren needs to establish himself anymore. I don't like it that it's going to be 4-on-1 simply because Jiren's already dominated enough. He's had a very compelling performance, and they could have just as well eliminated Vegeta this episode, and the next series of episodes could have all been about Jiren eliminating Universe 7 piece by piece. So he kind of goes on an onslaught, and it's Jiren versus 17. 17 throws his best shot at Jiren. It's not enough. Jiren eliminates 17. And then we get Jiren versus Frieza 128. Frieza pulls out some big tactics against Jiren, and then it lasts actually 2 episodes, and his new form or his new power isn't enough. Jiren eliminates Frieza, and then you come down to another Goku versus Jiren fight on 129. It's not enough. 130, Goku figures out how to use Ultra Instinct subconscious, or not subconsciously, but consciously, without having to be knocked out. And then 130 could have been about Goku beating Jiren, winning the tournament, and them going back to Universe 7. That's how this, you know, these fights should have panned out, not just Jiren versus everyone at once, and then he eliminates everyone in one episode, because it's just not going to feel right. That's the problem with rushing something, and I feel like that's what they're getting ready to do. And eliminating Toppo like this was completely not necessary. Toppo should have at least eliminated Vegeta at the very least, to, you know, kind of instill a sense of urgency, like, oh, one of our top dudes went. It's all down to Goku now. Even though 17 and Frieza are, you know, they're still there. I think pretty much everyone thinks that they're not going to be a match for Jiren or Toppo, and maybe Frieza and 17 try teaming up against Toppo again, but this time Frieza has a new power or something. I don't know, but maybe they could have taken care of Toppo in some kind of creative way, and it comes down to Goku versus Jiren. Like, we all know this has to end, but right now it's just in a mess. It's rushed, and I just really didn't like tonight's episode considering what happened. Vegeta needs to go. He needs to go now. We know we're not going to get, you know, Gogeta. We better not get Vegito again, because they already messed up with a whole bunch of retcons and whatnot. So he has no purpose now. He really doesn't. And the previews for 127, they look pretty bad too, because now next episode Vegeta is going Super Saiyan Blue just after he tapped all his energy using the final explosion technique that should have killed him or incapacitated him or made him a sitting duck for Jiren or Toppo to have eliminated. No, he's going Super Saiyan Blue again in the next episode. So the previews pretty much ruined that, and it does look like 17 is going to get the brunt of Jiren's onslaught, so he might be going next episode. I don't know. That's just the way that it looks. But if I had to rate 126, if they had Toppo eliminate Vegeta to better establish himself, I would have given it an 8. If they had traded and the final explosion eliminated them both, then I would have given it a 7 out of 10. But right now, because of what happened, I have to give 126 a 5 out of 10. It was terrible because Vegeta did not need to win this conflict. He's not getting Ultra Instinct. He's not going to fuse with Goku. He's not going to get the kill on Jiren or get the elimination. Just get rid of him. He's run his course. He's become annoying now because every time he powers up, he has to think of Kaba, which makes no sense because he's had 3 meetings with the guy. He hasn't trained him like Piccolo took months or a full year training Gohan and was pretty much involved in all stages of Gohan's life. He's not connected to Kaba like that. The man has a brother that's just like Kaba, and he won't acknowledge or, interact with him, but he feels obligated to do the same to Kaba. He wouldn't teach his own brother how to go Super Saiyan, but this random nobody Saiyan, I'm just tired of the whole thing with Kaba and Vegeta. And even though in this episode he thought of Bulma and his family, they just had to throw that in too. It's completely annoying. It has to stop. He has to get eliminated. That's just what has to happen. No questions asked. So I'm gonna leave it there. Of course, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Of course, I've been your perfect being and the #1 anime, gaming, and Dragon Ball channel on YouTube. Of course, the name is Perfection. Feel free to support Perfection on Patreon in the link below. Also hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell so that you get all the new content as it drops on the channel. And also hit me up on Twitch because I am going to get prepared to do some things on that as well. I've been your perfect being and the #1 anime, gaming, and Dragon Ball channel on YouTube. And I'm signing out.